Hey guys, this is a video on how to get started with vibe coding your first web application. So vibe coding is using generative AI to write programs for you. I'm not talking about using ChatGPT to generate small scripts. I'm talking about automating your entire code base. So I'm going to show you exactly the steps I use to do this. I've been able to successfully write over 100,000 lines of code using this method, and I've successfully published my app on the App Store with this exact same method. Now, it's not just enough to know what tools to use, like if you're going to use Cursor or Claude or Gemini CLI, you also need to know what technology stack to use. And so for this video, I'm going to dig into the technology stack you need to get started vibe coding your web application. So setting up your server, setting up your clients, and making them talk to each other. So the first thing you need is, since this is a beginner video, is Cursor. Now Cursor is an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Platform. This is where you can talk to the AI that is built into the Cursor IDE and make it automate your program. And you also will be able to edit your code and run your code from the IDE. So just go ahead and install that. You also need this other tool called Node.js. Now, depending on what sort of app you build, you need different technology stack, as I already mentioned. Since we are building web application, we need this tool to run our server and respond to clients when they try to visit our website. So go ahead and install this tool using the instructions on the website. After you install the Node.js, you're going to need Git. Git is a version tracking software. So what that means is usually how software is developed, it is developed with with version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Each version has new features and things like that. So version tracking software is usually used in software development to track versions of your software. Any changes that you make, it will track those changes so that in case you may screw things or you introduce any bugs, you can revert back to a version that was working. So this is really helpful. I highly recommend going and installing Git. So just go ahead and install and follow the installation process for your OS. And after you've installed these, then you want to go ahead and just confirm that everything has been installed. Now to do this, you just want to type node in your terminal or PowerShell, and if you get a response like this, that means node is installed. So that's good. And then you also want to confirm that you've installed Git successfully. So just type Git, and if you get a response back, that means you've also installed Git successfully, which is a good thing. So then we can move on to the next step, writing and setting up our project. Now to do this, you will just need to open the Cursor IDE. So you're going to get a page looking like this. You want to go ahead and open project, and then you want to navigate to the folder where you want to save your project. So I'm just going to save it in my USB drive. So I'm going to call it my project. You can call it whatever you want and just click open. So once you open it, you're gonna get this view on the left side. This is where you're gonna see all your files and folders for your project, all your code. On the right, you're gonna see a interactive chat interface where you can talk to the AI to write your program. But since we don't have any files, we don't really see anything here. It's all empty. So don't worry about that. Just go ahead and open a new terminal. Now it should work the same on Windows, but you just want to go ahead and open a terminal in this project folder, because the next thing we need to set up our project. So for web application, what we're going to need to use is this framework called Next.js. So Next.js is basically a framework. What that means is it's never going to be the case where we're going to need to write our application from scratch. We're always in software development, we're always going to use other people's code to write our code on top. So this is why we need to install this framework. It comes with a bunch of configuration, with a bunch of code already out of the box, and it just makes writing our web app much easier. So what you want to do is find this and just go ahead and type this command So click the npm version, or just copy this command, or you can write it. You can just copy this, npx create next latest. So go ahead and type that in your terminal. Now instead of, we can also create a new folder, my app, but since we've already created a project folder, we don't really need to do that. So we can just say dot, which means create the project in this folder, and we can click enter, and that's going to go ahead and give you a pop-up. Now we are going to just continue with the recommended configuration, so just let that run for a while, and that should go ahead and basically configure your project. Alright guys, so that is basically installed now. We got a success, which means it is all installed. Now the next thing is you can just go ahead and copy this command here. We don't really need to cd into the folder unless you've created a new folder. You can cd into it, but we don't really need to. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this npm command, and we're just going to copy it, paste it, and run it. What this is going to do is run our project, run our server, and give us a URL. Now we can just copy this URL, go to our browser, and just open it. Now this is going to open the default page for the project, which is this. It says to get started, edit the page TSX file. TSX stands for TypeScript. It's kind of similar to HTML, but it's a little bit different. So just don't worry about it for now, because we are just going to use AI for the most part, so we don't really need to worry about how things are structured and so on. If you want to learn more about TypeScript and how it works, you can, but essentially we just want to edit the files to make sure everything is working. So once we edit the file, I've just accepted some edits from the AI. We can go ahead and see all the file is successfully edited. But we're not going to edit the file for the most part ourselves. We're just going to ask this AI using the chat interface, so the cursor AI. So I can just ask it, build me a to-do app. Now it's actually going to go ahead and analyze all the files and folders, and it's going to implement a to-do app by itself without any manual process. So for the most part, we're going to be using this cursor chat interface to interact and write our programs. So it's going ahead and editing the page.tsx file, and it's actually writing our program. So we're just going to wait for it until it finishes. Okay, so as you can see, it's successfully written all the code. Now all we need to do is just review the code and accept the changes. So we can just say accept all. We've successfully accepted the changes. We can just go to our browser again, and look, it's made a to-do app for us. So we can say create another YouTube video. We can add that to our list, and as you can see, it's been added. So as you can see, this entire process was automated with the help of AI. And I guess the most important part of this video is not the AI, how to use the AI itself. We're gonna get to that part in future videos, but what I want you guys to understand, the tech stack you need to get started with web applications. So remember, you need to use Node.js, you need to use how to basically create your project. So you need Next.js to create your project, and then you can ask the AI to change the code and things like that. So in the future video, I'm going to dive deeper into the AI and what you need to change depending on the sort of applications you're building, how to create a database, how to publish your app, and many more videos. So if you guys found this helpful, just drop a like, drop a follow, and let me know what you guys want to see next. All right, see you guys.